Monday mornings only mean one thing, and that means Fabrizio Romano is here on Qué Golazo as we discuss the latest transfer and contract speculations as the seasons in domestic club competitions wind down. Chelsea, of course, remains a topic, as well as Arsenal and Tottenham as they try and battle for Champions League positions. And we'll check in on Barcelona as well, on the latest under Xavi's squad, a little bit on Milan, Serie A, of course, some final thoughts from Fabrizio, and so much more. Mondays, Qué Golazo, Fabrizio Romano begins right now. Hey, everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo. Thank you so much for being part of the family. Happy new week. It's the Champions League as well, second leg of the semi-final. Super exciting. Fabrizio Romano, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here. As you know, for Champions League football, I'm buzzing. So ready to see what happens, especially in the Bernabeu, because I think it will be an historical game again. So what happens in the Bernabeu is always mad and crazy. And so really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Did you see that photo, Fabrizio, of Carlo Ancelotti with a cigar?
Yes. I'm not surprised, but this is the real secret. If you see about Carlo Ancelotti, you always say at the end of the season, when he wins something, you see a different kind of person than what you see for the following 10 or 9 months, because this is why he is special. He's every day like this into the dressing room, but you will never see in public. And then at the end of the season, when he's celebrating, you can see a different Ancelotti. So this is why the players are in love with him, because he's a really normal person, really easy guy. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Ancelotti wasn't part of our conversation today, everybody, but it's worth mentioning. Just, our friend Jimmy Conrad calls him the player whisperer. It's so true. You just see how much they love him, how much he's just he seems to be what you see is what you get. Just a hardworking, charismatic guy who happens to be one of the best managers in the world. So It's amazing to see. Congratulations to Real Madrid as they get ready, of course, as Fabrizio said, for another great game against Manchester City at the Bernabeu. Right then, let's begin. We're going to be talking about Chelsea, a little bit of Arsenal and Tottenham as well, some Serie A news, specifically Barcelona with Fabrizio. But Fab, I wanted to begin, with some sad news, obviously, as you noted this past weekend, and the official news came out that super agent Mino Raiola, the tragic news regarding his passing. So sad. You wrote a great thing on The Guardian for it.
Thank you.
Just not just about his career. Everybody knows how much of an influential name he's been, from representing Dennis Bergkamp to Ibrahimovic, etc. His imprint on the football world, but just who he was as a person. And Fab, you said that so well, how people loved him, people hated him, people respected him, people, feared him, etc. So I just wanted to give you this moment, Fab, to just some words on Mino Raiola, specifically due to the sad news this past weekend.
Yes, really terrible news. Let me say that it's been really terrible, because we know since long time that Mino was in bad conditions. But then when is the moment for something like that is shocking, even for the family, even for many players, because many of the players were really destroyed. I can tell you that Zlatan Ibrahimovic, with a special relationship with Mino Raiola, in the last week has been, I'm told, every single day in the dressing room of AC Milan, totally silent, not speaking with any teammate. He's like destroyed, but really destroyed. And it was a really good moment for AC Milan, but Zlatan is destroyed. And this makes you understand why Mino was so special for his players, because he was ready to do the war with the clubs, to clash with the clubs, but his mission was to give his best to his players. As you mentioned, and as I always say, Mino was hated in football and loved by the players, because his clients were loving him, really, for what Mino did for them. But at the same point, many fans in football were not happy with his attitude, with his strategy. But at the end, in his mission as an agent, he was absolutely perfect, I think. He changed the game. He changed the communication of the game. I still remember really how the fans of Juventus were chanting his name when he brought Matthijs de Ligt to Juventus. And I still remember that from the car at Juventus Stadium, where he had the medical test before signing the contract, Matthijs de Ligt received some chants from Juventus fans, but then all the fans were going crazy for Mino Raiola, chanting his name. And this is something different. The agents in the world of football for many, many years were behind the scenes. No one knew about them or the names or something like that. Mino changed it with the communication, with the commissions, with crazy commissions. And so the top clubs knew that if you want to negotiate with Mino, you need to do something crazy. And so it means big salary to the players. So he was a genius, maybe not a saint. So I'm sure that he didn't want to be mentioned like a saint or a fantastic person, but he was a really smart guy. He was a really smart agent, and he was a game changer. So I'm sure in the world of football, we will lose an important part, a key part of our world, of the transfer market, especially because it really changed the game and he was able to do something incredible sometimes. So I'm really sad, but I'm sure that his family will do a great job in the future.
Well said, Fabrizio. And he came from nothing, and he built his empire. And to me, anybody that does that deserves as well a lot of recognition of what he did. So my condolences, and Fabrizio, beautiful words regarding his passing. Condolences and wishes to his family and loved ones. This is a business, obviously, as everybody knows. It's not all just personal, and Mino Raiola leaves behind a legacy as well as an industry and an empire, right, of the players that he represents. It might be too early for this, but what's the next moves now for his empire there, Fabrizio Romano? Who takes care of these players? Who takes care of the legacy that he leaves behind?
Yes, I see many stories now. It's normal to see many stories on this. Someone is saying about agents, players becoming agents to help the family. Someone is saying that some players will join other agencies. So we have a lot of stories. The reality is, I want to be 100% honest. Now, the family, Raiola family, they don't even know what is going to happen in the coming days. Of course, they were preparing something, but now they are obviously focused on different things. And I think in the coming 2-3 weeks, we will understand more. Many players want to be loyal with the Raiola family and continue with his cousin, Vincenzo Raiola, who was always with Mino, who was the right hand of Mino. And so this is why I'm sure that he will try to do his best. And his mission will be to keep all these players. But we will see. At the moment, we have a lot of stories like this one about Zlatan Ibrahimovic becoming an agent. It's a story that we have here in Italy, but at the moment, I have still nothing confirmed on that one, even because Zlatan doesn't want to speak about it. Zlatan wants to respect Mino 100%. He's feeling the moment, as I mentioned before. So this is why I think it's going to take 2-3 weeks before we understand what happens. But now all the player wants to be respectful and wants to wait some weeks before deciding what they want to do.
I'm imagining that includes Erling Haaland, Fabrizio Romano, because Erling Haaland was supposedly meant to make some official announcements, I guess, of when he was going next, or his next decision, regarding his future from. It may not include Borussia Dortmund, Oxford, but I'm imagining due to these news, that's going to take some time. Paul Pogba as well, I'm imagining that as well will take some time.
Yes, of course. It changes the timing. For example, also Mazraoui to Bayern was a deal that was verbally agreed, but they can't sign because of this regular situation, so they need to wait a bit. Of course, it changes the timing of some decisions. I'm sure that maybe without this Mino Raiola situation, the situation of Erling Haaland was already clarified. So this is how it works. Unfortunately, it's life. It's not football. It's absolutely normal. But I'm sure that in few weeks, we'll have final answers for Haaland. For Pogba, it will be at the end of the season. So I think it will take time. It will be end of May. But the situation is, as you mentioned, we need to wait a bit and see what's next.
We'll see what's next. In the meantime, our condolences, wishes to Mino Raiola's family and loved ones. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some business that does need to happen straight away, and that is Chelsea. There's some discontent, I believe, going on around Stamford Bridge. Obviously, they just lost against one of their stars, their former legends in Frank Lampard and Everton. It hasn't been great for Chelsea, and now Champions League for them is not as certain, definitely through qualification. They still got an FA Cup final to play, but in terms of the top four, it's not looking that great. They're only about 3 points from Arsenal, and Tottenham are creeping in the Champions League, Fabrizio Romano. So let's begin there. First of all, what's going on with, Thomas Tuchel's side? Lukaku, he's not a major part of this, lineup right now. What's going on there? Do you expect any more discontent from that side with Chelsea?
Honestly, I'm sure that at the end of the season, when everything will be clarified, even on new ownership, so on the board and everything that needs to be clarified, Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku will discuss directly with the board, and they will need to find a solution, because Romelu doesn't want to continue like this. He is a Chelsea to play, and I think even for Chelsea, it makes no sense to have a player for 115 million euros on the bench. So it makes no sense. Thomas Tuchel will have a discussion with the board once the situation of the new ownership will be clarified, and then they will speak with Romelu Lukaku agent to discuss for the best solution in the summer. It's not going to be an easy one, because they paid a lot of money, because the salary is an important one, 12 million euros net per season. So this is why it's not going to be easy to manage this Romelu Lukaku situation. But I'm sure that Romelu can't continue like this. If Thomas Tuchel wants to use him like he did this season, it's going to be really difficult to keep Romelu Lukaku at the club. Even because, for my personal opinion, I saw Romelu Lukaku here in Milano, in Italy, last season, last 2 years, and Romelu needs to play if he wants to perform. If he's on the bench, even because of his physical structure, you have a big problem. He can't
He's
play.
He's a different player, Fabrizio. He's a different player
right now. He needs to play every single game. Every single game. He can maybe miss 1 or 2 or 3 games in the season, but all the other games he needs to perform and to play. Even because if it's injured, he has problems. Imagine if he's fit and then you don't play him. You have a problem on the physical point of view. So this is why they can't continue like this.
Yeah. Well, let's move on, because that is a very good point, specifically about also the system and how maybe it may not even favor Romelu Lukaku. Definitely the way that it's going. All right. Well, let's keep going for a second. The departures of Rudiger, right? Real Madrid, Christensen as well, heading off. Marcos Alonso, is that going to be destabilizing the squad? Are we expecting some ins and outs? I know that part of it, as you mentioned, has a lot to do with the new owners, which I believe right now are being led by Todd Bowley's consortium. So that has a lot to do with it. But those players are leaving no matter what. So any other players who want out?
For sure will be a revolution. And I think Chelsea need a revolution, need some fresh air around the club. And so this is something that will happen this summer. As you mentioned, these names, Tony Rudiger will play for Real Madrid, 4-year deal. So Tony Rudiger will sign soon his contract with Real Madrid. Andreas Christensen has already agreed to join Barcelona in the summer. For Marcos Alonso, Barcelona is a possibility. From what I'm told, he wants to be back and to go back to Spain at the end of the season because of family reasons. So this is why for him the priority will be to go back to Spain. And so that's why with Barcelona as front runners, because they're really exploring this possibility. So for Chelsea will be a revolution. I'm sure that they will go for a new centre back or maybe 2. They will go for a new fullback. They need to change many things at Chelsea this summer. Players who want to leave the club, they want to clarify their future, because, for example, N'Golo Kante and Jorginho, same position, of course, different players, but midfielders, out of contract in June 2023, both of them, and they're still waiting for a contract extension since 1 year. And as Thomas Tuchel said a few weeks ago, you can't go with risk with this kind of players, because it happens what happened with Ronny Rudiger and Christensen. You're going to lose both of them. So on a free. So this is a disaster for a top club to lose this kind of players on a free. So this is why they need to clarify. Both players, Kante and Jorginho, are waiting for the new ownership to see what they want to do. But I think maybe Jorginho could have a chance to go back to Italy and see what happens with Kante, because he wants a new deal. And they promised him a new deal 1 year ago. So for Chelsea, it's a really important moment to keep the players and to rebuild the defense in particular, because many players are leaving.
Okay, well, another player that's of obvious interest here with Qué Golazo, of course, is Christian Pulisic. He hasn't started in the lineup since March, just appearing as a substitute, of course. There was this cryptic tweet from his father, Mark Pulisic. It's deleted, I believe, already, but he said, the sad thing is he loves this club, teammates, and London. Puts his heart and soul into being a pro. Onwards and upwards, my boy. Big 6 months ahead. The proverbial words there, Fabrizio, the sad thing. Sounds obviously that he's not happy. Anything there? Obviously, massive interest here from a USMNT perspective.
Yes, and I think they need to clarify this position too, because we always mention Romelu Lukaku, but they need to clarify with Pulisic what they want to do together with Thomas Tuchel at the end of the season. They had some approaches from Spanish clubs in January, but for Chelsea was not even a topic. They wanted to keep him, and Tuchel wanted to keep him. So he told to the board, I want this player to stay, and I need this player. But then these players, Pulisic, Lukaku, and many others, they're not happy with the current situation. So it's really important, I think, for Chelsea to clarify what they want to do with them, with contracts, because even for Pulisic, what do you want to do? You trust this player. You want to offer him a new deal or not? So there are many points, and they want to play. They want to play, and so it's a complicated situation too. I'm sure that they will have a conversation with Thomas Tuchel, with a new board in the summer, and they will need to clarify what they want to do, because maybe it could be an opportunity for him to leave Chelsea in case Thomas Tuchel will accept him to go. So Tuchel with Romelu Lukaku and Pulisic will need to clarify the situation as soon as possible. I think it will be end of May.
This is just an opinion for you, Fabrizio. I'm not asking you to give me a fact here, but where do you think, let's do both. Where do you think Romelu Lukaku should be next season? Should he stay with Chelsea? Should he go somewhere else? And the same with Pulisic. What do you think?
I think that Romelu Lukaku should go. Honestly, I think the feeling after what happened, even because of his responsibilities, his interview in December destroyed everything, honestly. And then with Thomas Tuchel, the situation is not easy. He's not playing, so I think he should go and he should leave the club. I don't know if for Italian football or English football, but with another club and the manager trusting him, but he needs to go. And for Pulisic, I think he has still chances to perform with Chelsea, but they need to clarify with him what they want to do, because they can't continue like this. Like this, you're going to have a problem with the player. So if he's not staying at Chelsea, I think it could be perfect for Spanish football, because with the spaces they have in Spanish football, he could be kind of perfect player. He's really fast, and he could have some different feelings in Spain after spending many years in England. And so it could be a solution, but at the moment it's just my personal opinion, not news yet.
No, it would be great to see Pulisic in La Liga. That would be fun, definitely from a USMNT perspective. And the final part of Chelsea is Mason Mount. Obviously, one of the lowest paid Chelsea first teamers. Is there a fear that he'll run down his contract? 2 years left, right? I believe. Obviously he's a key component of Chelsea, at least under Thomas Tuchel right now.
Yes, he's a key player, and I think they can't lose Mason Mount. If they also lose Mason Mount in the summer, it will be a disaster for Chelsea. So I think the first mission for the new owner will be to have discussions with players like him and to offer him a new deal, even because Mason Mount, we said about Kante, we said about Jorginho, but Mason Mount is waiting since September for Chelsea to make a proposal for a new deal. They told him, okay, we will do it, we will discuss, but then because of the sanctions, because of many things, it didn't happen. And so the players are not happy with the situation. This is why we have many rumors about Reece James, about Mason Mount, about Lukaku, Pulisic, because they're waiting for a new deal since a long time. So this is why they will need to clarify, but I think they can't lose Mason Mount. They wanted to offer him a long-term deal, a 5-year deal with an important salary. I think this will be the intention even of the new owners, because they need to keep him at the club. He's a Chelsea boy, and so they can't lose him.
Okay, so basically, new owners come in right now because there's a lot that needs to be sorted out, including Thomas Tuchel's future, I believe. He doesn't look too happy, right? He's been dealing with a lot. So these new owners need to come in ASAP.
Yes, he can't be sport director, communication manager, president, and manager.
Too much.
I think it's too complicated. I think he's doing an incredible job, honestly. Of course, for Chelsea, it's not an easy moment, but they won at Bernabeu, for example. He's doing an incredible job on communication side, because when you sign a contract, you're a manager. You're not communicating as head of communication at a top club. It's completely different work. And he's doing everything. He's working as part of the board, as part of the club, as part of the team. So what he's doing is simply incredible. But he wants to make sure that, okay, he wants to continue with Chelsea. He stated in public that he wants to continue. He's happy there. But he wants to see the project. He wants to see the vision. You can't lose both Rudiger and Christensen on a free, because it means that you don't have a clear strategy. And you won the Champions League 11 months ago. So you have the project there. You have fantastic players. You just have to restart this process with a new ownership. But I'm sure that Chelsea are working to do it.
So staying in a top 4 situation is key, but I'm imagining this FA Cup final for Chelsea is huge. It's really big, definitely from a optic perspective, energy perspective. All right, let's move on, but let's stay in London here, because this past weekend, obviously the fight for the Champions League spots in the Premier League, Arsenal are currently 4th. They overtook Tottenham, who earlier in that day beat Leicester City. So Arsenal on 63 points, Tottenham on 61 points. The race for Champions League is fantastic from a neutral perspective. They're locked in a battle to finish in that last final position. Quick question here, Fabrizio. I'll put you on the spot. Who needs Champions League football more, Arsenal or Tottenham?
Both of them are desperate, trust me, because really, it's important to understand that for Tottenham to have Champions League football will be really important for Antonio Conte. If you want to keep Antonio Conte, Champions League football means big budget and signing 5-6 new players in the summer. This is what Antonio wants to stay at Tottenham. So this is really, really important for him. In his last press conference, he said what we already discussed here many times. Ambition means I don't want the 4th place. I want to win titles. This is Antonio Conte. This is why Champions League football for him will be really important and crucial to stay at Tottenham. And Arsenal is more than important. It's more than important because of economic point of view, but even because they're already negotiating with some players. I give you an example. Gabriel Jesus is a player that they want to sign, but to have Champions League football is really important for Arsenal to be attractive to these players and in negotiations with these players. So this is why for them it's really, really important. I feel that they are the next step of the project. Now, this summer, they don't need 6 or 7 players, but they need, as Edu said, the director, 2 or 3 important players to join the club. Gabriel Jesus could be one of the names, but they need Champions League football. They need money. They need the sense of the project with Champions League football, and I'm sure that it will be a fantastic battle in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing about Arsenal, because fans have been patient from Mikel Arteta saying, patience, this is a step-by-step process. And like you said, they're getting to that, not final step, but the final steps of getting to a top four. So getting Champions League football, if they don't get it this season, it's way off their objectives from a timing perspective. Antonio Conte, spot on, man. They need Champions League. Otherwise, and I'm wondering as well about Harry Kane as well, Fabrizio Romano. What would happen there? We kept getting comments on YouTube on our live recap yesterday, Fabrizio, that no way Levy's going to sell Harry Kane. But if they don't get Champions League football...
Yes, I have the same feeling. They don't want to lose him, but if you lose Champions League football, if you don't have Champions League football, and if you lose Antonio Conte, it's a big problem.
Back to square one.
It's a big, big problem. It's like, okay, we restart again. And it's not a good moment for Tottenham to do that. It's a perfect moment to go to the next step, not to go back to, we need a new manager, what we're going to do with Harry Kane. It seems to be like last summer, and you can't do it. You need to keep the manager, you need to keep Harry Kane, and you need to discuss a new deal with Harry Kane, because this is what they want to do. Since many months, they want to offer him a new deal, but they're waiting for Champions League football. So it's a domino. It's really a domino for Tottenham, and it's really important for both Tottenham and Arsenal. So I'm really curious to see what happens.
Yeah, and pay attention, everybody, because these next two games are going to be great. Arsenal face Leeds, who are trying to stay in the Premier League, of course, and Tottenham face Liverpool, who are trying to win the Premier League. And after that, it's the North London derby. It's going to get very exciting for the neutral, at least. I feel a bit nervous for Tottenham and Arsenal fans. All right, let's check in on Barcelona for a second. Back to winning ways, obviously. They got knocked out of the Europa League by Frankfurt, a few other bad losses, but then they beat Mallorca. What's the latest within their squad, first of all? Dembele, what's going on with him? And Gavi, do they want to stay? Xavi is as influential as ever. Is he enough for them to stay?
Yes, both of them want to stay. I think with Gavi is not going to be a problem, because the expectation around Gavi and around Barcelona is to extend the contract soon. We have many rumors because he's out of contract in June 2023, and he has a release clause in the current contract for 50 million euros. So it's a huge opportunity. But his intention is to continue with Barcelona. Gavi wants to stay, and Xavi wants him to stay at Barça. And so I think Gavi will sign a new deal soon with Barcelona, as Araujo did few days ago. And Ousmane Dembélé, he wants to stay too, but this is a financial point, because they are discussing with his agent Moussa Sissoko again. They had a meeting a few days ago, but they were not yet into the details of the negotiation. It was just a meeting for the feeling they have on player side, on agent side, and on club side. Barça want to keep Dembélé. Xavi wants to keep Dembélé at the club. He's convinced that he would be perfect for Barça project in the future. But they need to find an agreement on the salary, because Dembélé has been approached by important clubs with important salaries on a free. And so this is why the negotiation will continue. I'm told that they will have a new meeting in the coming days to discuss about the salary. And so let's see what happens with Dembélé. But for Gavi, the expectation is for him to continue with Barcelona.
Memphis Depay scored the opener as Barcelona beat Mallorca 2-1 on Sunday. I hear there might be some rumors regarding some interest from Premier League teams. Is that true?
Yes. There is interest from Premier League. A lot of interest around Memphis Depay, because many clubs know that Barcelona will need to sell some player this summer. And if they want to sign a new striker and in many other positions, maybe Memphis Depay could be one of the players to leave the club. He said in public that he wants to continue. He wants to be important for Barcelona. He said in the last few years, in the last few hours. But the message from Depay is very clear. But on Barcelona side, they know about interest from Premier League. So I would keep the situation open for Depay.
Staying Dutch, Frankie de Jong, there was a little bit of a issue when Barcelona lost to Rayo Vallecano and he was substituted after an hour. Clearly, he was not happy. But then after this win from Sunday over Mallorca, de Jong explained everything. Then him and Xavi had a good chat. I'm hearing, obviously, Erik ten Hag moving to Manchester United, maybe a reunion back at Old Trafford. But what's the latest there?
Easy links with Erik ten Hag, of course, because the relationship was great between Frankie and ten Hag. But from what I'm told, Frankie de Jong wants to play Champions League football. So I think it will be more than complicated for Man United to sign him this summer. And Xavi is desperate, as he always says in public, but even in private, is desperate to keep the player at the club. He's convinced that players like Pedri, Frankie de Jong, and Gavi can't be missed for Barcelona. They need to continue with them. And so this is why he wants to keep Frankie. But I think if he will have a chance to go this summer, it will not be for clubs that are not playing Champions League football. He wants to play Champions League football. He wants to have guaranteed Champions League football. And so this is why I think he has good chances to stay at Barcelona, because they want to keep him. But if not, it will be for a club fighting to win the Champions League.
Let's move to Italy very quickly here. AC Milan, Renato Sanches, two pieces of information that you've been reporting on for a long time. Renato Sanches, I know that you're a big admirer, as are we here. What's the latest there?
I love him. Fantastic player, really. I had a chance to be at the Euros under-17 in Malta one time when he was playing with Portugal, and I fell in love with this player. So for me, it will always be like, I was feeling like a scout, So this is why.
It's how I feel with Vinicius Jr., Fabrizio Romano. You watch him like when he was young, and then you see him grow. You feel like you took part of that.
Yes, exactly. And no, for Milan, he's a target. He's a main target, a priority in the midfield, but he's not agreed yet, from what I'm told. The real point is about personal terms, because they have a good relationship with Lille. They're discussing with Lille since some time about Renato Sanches and Sven Botman. But for Botman, he's already advanced with a player. With Renato Sanches, still in discussions. So I'm sure that Renato will leave Lille this summer. AC Milan have chances to send him, but he's still not at final stages of the negotiation. For AC Milan, Sven Botman is the priority as new centre-back. Divock Origi on a free from Liverpool. They're discussing with him for this free transfer, and negotiations are well advanced. So AC Milan are planning for the future, and they're hoping to win the Scudetto this season. So let's see what happens even with the new ownership, because for Investcorp, the new ownership from Bahrain, they are negotiating the final points of this closing with the current ownership of AC Milan, the Elliott Group. But I'm sure that in the coming days it will be clarified. And so for AC Milan will be the start of a new era.
Very quickly here, our producer Desnor, sorry, Des, I didn't include this, but I wanted to, because Lille, European Football Champions League at the beginning of the season, now that's gone, and now they've got their 10th in Ligue 1. We're talking about all these players leaving. Jonathan David as well, he's going to be leaving as well. There's a lot going on there, not from a good perspective.
He will leave the club. Leave the club. Jonathan David, Sven Botman will leave the club. Renato Sanches will leave the club. Yes, the feeling is that they are at the end of a great moment, because they won the league last year. They did something incredible with these players, but now it's time for a change. Even other players, I think, will leave the club in the summer. Where I could be one of them. So I'm sure that they will need a new manager. They will need a new message in the summer. But Jonathan David, I think, will be the biggest name on the market, because his value is around 50 million euros. Many clubs from Premier League, from Italy, from Spain are exploring this possibility. And so for Jonathan David will be the chance to leave the club. He had the proposal from Arsenal in January, but for Lille was not even a topic to sell him in January, because they wanted to keep him. They had to play some Champions League football with Chelsea. But now it's different feeling, honestly. And I'm sure that Jonathan David will leave the club too.
We will see. Another USMNT tidbit, Tim Weah, of course, would he leave as well?
Let's see. I think it's a possibility at the moment. I think they can't sell all the players they have, and so they will need to.
Otherwise, they have no club.
Exactly. Even because they already told Renato Sanches, Botman, and Jonathan David that they're prepared to let them go. Yeah. Let's see what happens with Weah. I think it's a possibility. But it depends on the manager, on the project they will have. So it's not something discussed now.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're nearly done here with Fabrizio Romano. We wanted to do something fun. As you may or may not know, we're building up to the World Cup in Qatar 2022 in November. We're giving you content right now. It's a video a week. They come out on Saturdays, but as the summer comes, we'll give you plenty more content, a lot to discuss from the World Cup. And we thought it'd be fun to do something great with Fabrizio from a World Cup perspective. Fab, I know this is a touchy subject to you Italians right now, but let's just have some fun. Today, we're going to do Fabrizio Romano. You give me your World Cup teams that you are getting behind, rooting for as an Italian who has to, just like the entire squad of Mancini, sit and watch the World Cup. Give me 3 teams that you're rooting for at the World Cup.
Yes, the first one is Portugal, because it's a country I love. I love their way of approaching football, and so I will be Portugal fan at the World Cup, because I'm really big fan of how they see football, how they play football, because they have many talents, how they trust young talents. And so I love Portugal. I love Lisbon, Porto, and so I will be Portugal fan at the World Cup.
Portugal is one, and Cristiano Ronaldo may be his final World Cup. I doubt it. He's an absolute machine, but Portugal is one. Give me your second, my friend.
Second is Denmark. is a country I love how they approach life and not just football. And then because of Christian Eriksen, I had the chance to meet with Christian Eriksen here in Milano when he was playing with Inter. Special person. What happened last summer was really terrible. I still remember the feelings I had in that terrible moment. Now to see him playing football at top level again is something fantastic. And to see him at the World Cup will be fantastic. Same for Simon Kjær, that will be back from the injury and will be at the World Cup. And so I think it will be a really interesting team with many talents, with many good players, but with two fantastic stories like Eriksen and Simon Kjær coming back from the injury. And so I will be Denmark fan too.
Denmark, of course, we all knew what they did. As you mentioned, the Christian Eriksen story kind of uplifted the entire Danish nation at the Euros, and it took England, the finalist and the host nation, to knock them out. Give me your third country that you're rooting for at the World Cup.
It has to be Peru, my friend. Obviously, it has to be Peru. How not? How not? He's special for us because of Lapadula. You know, Lapadula is our boy, so he's on loan to Peru at the moment. But but I will be fan of Peru because of you, because of Lapadula, and because of South American feelings. I love South American feelings. So you know that Brazil and Argentina is too easy to say Brazil or Argentina, and so it's nice to go with Peru. It's nice to go with new feelings, and so wishing you all the best.
Fabrizio Romano, you are an adopted Peruvian as of right now, my friend. And I know that you say Lapadula is on loan. His mother is Peruvian, and that's way important in that household, by the way.
It's true.
There's no pasta there. It's arroz chaufa and some taco, but I love it. Denmark, Peru, who, if Peru makes it, they'll be in the same group. So that would mean, ooh, that's going to be tough because France is obviously in there. That's kind of the similar group of 2018.
But never say never.
Never say never, Fabrizio Romano. You are an adopted Peruvian. I'm calling you Fabrizio Tupac Amaru Romano in the house. And the first one, of course. What was your first team that you were rooting? Portugal, of course. Yes. Well done. Well, Fabrizio Romano, this has been so great. Thank you so much. Final thoughts, my friend. Anything that we haven't discussed before we say goodbye?
I'll give you another South American great player, James Rodriguez, because I'm sure that he will be in the rumors, in the news in the coming weeks, because he has decided to leave Al Rayyan. He wants the new experience. He wants to go back to European football. And so keep an eye on James, because his agent, Jorge Mendes, is already working on some solution. And I think he could have some chance to go back to European football. I don't know where yet, because it's not decided. But James wants to go. He wants to have a new opportunity. And so let's see. I'm curious. I loved this player. I used to love him when he was with Real Madrid, with Colombia. And so I wish him all the best.
Absolutely. Talking of the World Cup, he gave us one of the greatest moments back in 2014, that performance, which led, of course, to the Real Madrid acquisition. I think La Liga or the Premier League, that's where I'm thinking for James Rodriguez, but that should be interesting. Great call there, Fabrizio. Thank you so much, my friend. Fabrizio Romano, make sure to follow his content on Twitter at Fabrizio Romano and Instagram as well, and every week on CBS Sports and his entire Here We Go projects as well. Fabrizio, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, as always. Enjoy Champions League football, enjoy Qué Golazo, and see you soon in the coming days here, as always.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you, everybody. Qué Golazo pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Qué Golazo, CBS Sports, and your CBS Sports. Have a great beginning to your week. Enjoy the Champions League and much, much more from Qué Golazo and CBS Sports. See you next time.